See, I'm getting a lot of drop frames. This is probably not going to work. But we will try. We keep trying um to see what ends up happening. Well, welcome friends, welcome everyone. Happy you are here. We are going to talk all things full moon and Capricorn related. Really get some of the Capricorn energy going. I hope you're doing well. I hope this Capricorn full moon is treating you nicely. And I think in many ways we are totally embodying the full moon and Capricorn vibes out here in Earth, in the world, in the realms where all the many beautiful, joyous, wonderful, grounded things um, present themselves to us. So, how are you? How are you feeling? What's the vibe? What's the buzz? I hope that it is treating you nicely. Just thinking about Capricorn energy here and ultimately thinking of, great, what's the next step? What's the next great work? What are we really building here together in this lifetime? And I think of Capricorn as really being a sign about mastery. It's about excellence. It's about understanding that there is a clear mountain for all of us to climb in this lifetime. We've come into this world to do some good work. The work is not necessarily the problem, but how we approach the work is very important. I'm going to pull up the chart here so you can see what I'm looking at. And here we are. We have this beautiful Capricorn full moon. Over here, we have the full moon in Capricorn. Across the way, we have a north node in Pisces. We also have a south node in Virgo, which adds a layer of meaning and purpose to this conversation as well. And I mean, I think the South Node in Virgo is an aspect that a lot of astrologers are sort of glazing over and missing because I think this South Node in Virgo is probably why we feel exhausted and drained and tired. When we're looking at Virgo, the archetype, we are talking about being of service. We're also talking about looking outside of just ourselves for service as well, being of service to others, being in humble service to others as well. Virgo is also about systems and understanding that there are frameworks, there are systems, there's a planning, there's an organization to life, and the balance of getting that life to work in alignment. That is what Virgo is known for. But with the South Node, we're amplifying the shadow of Virgo here as well, right? So with the shadow of Virgo, what we're looking at here is being of servitude, not necessarily being of service. And the many ways in which, sure, there are some systems that are worth calling out here that feel like servitude. But ultimately, it's up to us to break those chains, to break those ties, to really help us meet this current moment in intentional alignment and embodiment. So, when we think of the great work we're doing here, how many of us are walking around with a ball and chain? How many of us are walking around with limiting beliefs that, you know, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to point blame at as being the reason why we're not doing the work we're here to do, the ikigai, right? So when we're looking at Capricorn and the legacy that we're building, essentially that is it. We're looking at building a legacy, an ikigai, a purpose, something that we want to wake up every single morning and do, even on the days that we don't feel like doing it. And part of the stretch here is going toward that north node in Pisces, right? And the north node in Pisces here is really about, great, can we start this work, this great work with compassion? Can we start this great work with the heart really at the forefront of it all? How can we truly bring the energy of work online in a way that is more heart focused instead of just the tangible, practical, money, resources focused, right? When we care about the work that we're doing, there's a shift that happens. We feel as though this work is giving more to us versus taking from us. And this is what I love about this full moon happening during Cancer season, because trining, of course, this water sun over here, Cancer sun, which is about nurture and care and home and family, we got this North Node in Pisces again. What is the dream here? What is the dream? What is your dream? North Node in Pisces is ultimately about embodying Christ consciousness in some way. And when you think of Christ as a form of consciousness, how can we every single day align ourselves to those principles, those Gnostic principles, right? Putting the heart forward, compassion, forgiveness, faith, belief, meaning making. And that South Node in Virgo loves to spiral here into a story of dread, of doom and gloom. But the North Node in Pisces is pointing us toward the dream. What is the dream? What are we really building here with our time, with our resources, with our skills? That's really worth looking at. Because if we are to truly build this new earth that many of us are romanticizing, it's going to take a little more effort to de-fixate ourselves on the things that aren't working and to refixate ourselves on the things that could work, on the things that could work. And that is this Piscean dream, right? This is what we're looking at here, to walk through this world as an embodiment, as a reflection of the world in which we really want to live in. There is no escape from work, unfortunately, friends, or fortunately. And, I'm calling out my generation included, the millennial generation, and how we are burnt out, right? And sure, there's a time and place for burning out and calling that. But what we really are is in misalignment. We keep participating in work that probably feels more extracting of us than giving to us. So I would encourage everyone for this full moon to really peel back the layers, stand all the way back, and ask yourself here, what work do I really want to focus on? What work do I really want to focus on? What life do I really want to build? What legacy do I really want to build? And releasing the ball and chain, the I'm too tired, I'm burnt out, I'm too this, and start focusing on the work we want to align ourselves with. Making that our dominant focus, because that is what this full moon is really illuminating here. The tarot card associated with this full moon as well is the Two of Pentacles, is this juggler going back and forth with these two coins. It's duality, it's yin and yang, it's this and that, it's dark and light, it's work and rest. Notice that in that I didn't say or. It's both. It's both. We've come into this world to, yes, carry both and then eventually be in a non-dualistic state where we just fully accept where we are. But you got to really know what you're juggling here. That is part of this signature. That is part of this work as well. Now, I really want everyone to know in the space as well that there's no work too big or too small. Some people's great work might be building a comfortable home for you and your loved ones and your family to come over and find you, to commune together. For others, your great work might be, building that business, being that entrepreneur, being a healer, being a whatever. But understanding that legacy is not always this what we see on these algorithms, right? There's not a legacy too big or too small. Maybe your legacy right now is taking care of a parent who took so much care of you. Maybe your legacy right now is learning a skill, learning conversational skills, learning how to build with your hands, learning how to farm, learning how to plant. Maybe your legacy right now is learning how to be in relationship with other people who challenge you and to still remain open. There isn't a legacy too big or too small for you. And I think that's also a very important thing to distinguish as well. So, as we move through this full moon, as we move through and consider the great work that we're here to do, I encourage you to be soft with this reflection, soft with the releasing, soft with the sense that a lot of the heaviness we carry around work and legacy building isn't even ours. It's something that we inherited. And with that, it's something for us to move through and to move toward. So think about that. And if you want to release and you want more time to reflect and contemplate, then come to my full moon workshop, which is happening today in the collective. If you want to be a part of the collective, you can check the description in the YouTube live right now and you can join. It's my membership. It's $11.99 a month. You get full moon and new moon readings, plus a full moon and new moon workshop, plus a live in time community, real time community to reflect and integrate all this wisdom with. So you can check that out. We're having a workshop today at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. So you can come through. We'll be journaling. We'll be meditating together. It's a ritual for this full moon. I would really love for you to be a part of it. And with that note, we're going to move on to some personalized readings, okay? So this is known as the chart room. We do some 15-minute little mini readings. If you would like to book a reading, you can comment chart on Instagram Live. If you're watching on Instagram Live, you can book a little mini reading with me right now. I think I have 2 more slots available, so it's first come, first serve. So you can comment chart on Instagram. If you're watching on YouTube, love to see some familiar faces on here. Then all you got to do is drop into the description as well for a booking link in there. So those are the many ways you can book. We have 2 readings today so far booked. The first one is for Kelsey. So Kelsey, wherever you are in the world, dear, just say I'm here. And we will go ahead and do your reading. Da, 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 da. Give me 1 second here, friends, to just put in your information, Kelsey. Bam, bam. Beautiful. Pulling up your reading now for Kelsey. Just reading your notes real quick. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. So let's see. This is for you, Kelsey. Let's go ahead and drop in. So there's some questions here around removing blocks in regards to your creativity, right? And the very first thing that I'm looking at here is this south node where it lives in your natal chart. Now, south node, what we're looking at is our karma. It's our baggage. It's the work we're here to like transcend from. And with the south node in Capricorn, we get very rooted in thinking that we have to work our way. We have to hustle our way to meaning. And now, mind you, there's a time and place for hustle. But when our standard of excellence is lacking and missing the softness, the receptivity for the creation to find you, then you end up blocking ourselves, right? So with South Node in Capricorn, there is a high standard, and that standard is creating a level of distortion when it comes to your creativity and the passions that you have and the things you've come into this world to unearth, right? So with Capricorn here, we got to really clock this sort of dread, this sort of heaviness, especially when it revolves around creativity. In order to get that creativity really working for you, we got to really root ourselves in some beliefs here. What are the beliefs that are blocking and limiting you from creating in ways that feel expansive? How can we soften ourselves, soften our heart, soften the body, soften the emotional body to a point where, great, now the muses are coming through to co-create with us? Because in this fifth house, we have Sagittarius, right? We have two Sagittarius placements in this fifth house of creativity. We have Neptune in Sagittarius, Neptune being the planet of big vision, the world we create when we daydream, and in Sagittarius, it's like, yeah, there's a philosopher's soul inside of you that wants to create through your daydreaming. And then we have Uranus, planet of shock, twists, turns, the sudden aha moments coming through and really boom, clicking and like, wow, we didn't see that thing coming, right? And with Uranus here in Sagittarius, it tells me that the creativity comes from a very spiritual place. Can we ritualize creativity in a way that opens up the mind, the heart, the spirit, spiritually, you know, really creating more of a temple in regards to your creativity so that something can find you in that space? I would also say here, Sagittarius is a wanderer. Sagittarius is, loves learning through direct experiences. So there's something here where maybe, signing up for a creative retreat of some sort, a creative residency, going outside of your comfort zone, really getting that fire turning on through inspiration versus obligation, right? And this is that South Node in Capricorn work. It's like it feels obligatory, right? It feels like I gotta do something, right? But that's not what we're looking at here. We're looking for the spiritualness in our creativity. When you think of channeling and making your creativity a sort of channeling of all the questions you have, all those big questions. What comes through? How do you move? How do you use your hands to create something in that way? And if the inspiration is not there, the very last thing we should be doing is forcing inspiration to come through, right? What we should be doing is reaching for inspiration through simplicity, through experience, changing the backdrop, you know? My partner today, we woke up and he was like, "Oh, babe, let's go out to nature and you know, let's go out and do your live show out in nature." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Let's change the environment. Let's change the landscape. Let's change the backdrop so that who knows? Who knows what sort of truth comes from that, right?" And I think it's great. It's beautiful. It's a try on. We're trying on our, remote internet right now, which is, you know, very interesting. I'm learning right here on the spot how to use this space and to coordinate these messages, but that's something worth thinking about here. Also, another thing considering where your south node is, where's your north node in your chart? Now, your north node over here is in Cancer. We got North Node in Cancer in the 12th house of spirituality, in the 12th house of meaning making, in the 12th house of what exists beyond the physical realm. And we have Cancer here, right? So there is a whole realm of just like untapped skills and tools waiting for you to explore it a little bit more. Capricorn gets hard-headed. With the South Node in Capricorn gets really hard-headed. Throw in a Sun in Virgo here as well. Like we think too much about things, right? We think too much. It's like, can we feel our way into something here? Can we feel our way into something first? So that is something to consider as well. What does that spiritual realm look like for you? How do we exercise that muscle? What does a meditation practice look like for you? And like opening up the channels to commune with something, to commune with the muses, right? To make ourselves open so that the muses can find us instead of us trying to figure out how to get the muses on, opening ourselves up so the muses could find us. So that's something I would really start considering here for you as well. Because there's an artist in you. There really is. There's a creator inside of all of us. There's an artist inside of all of us. But it's not like your specific artistry is not going to find you through trying to force something to happen. It's the energy here I see of like Capricorn staring at a blank page and just like, come on, ideas, come on, ideas, come on, get it going. But that's not what we're looking at here. That's not it. We're trying to, through love, through nurture, through softness, in that space, what comes through you? What comes through you? That's something worth considering. Okay? All right, love. Well, thank you for signing up for this reading. I appreciate you. I hope you found it resonant. We have another reading on the books in just a little while here. In like a half an hour, we got another reading on the books, and that should close us up. This is a personal reading for Kelsey, so that's for you, dear. Give me one quick second to just get the energies going. And I'm curious, just some feedback for y'all. How is this stream looking and feeling for you? I'm testing out some internet over here, and this is our first time trying to use a remote setup. So if it's a little clunky, if it's a little weird, bear with me. Hopefully you can still hear me clearly. But we're trying something on. We're trying something new. Let me just get my laptop here charging a bit more as well. Mm-hmm. All right. And in the meantime, if y'all have questions, this would be a good time for question and answers. So if you have any questions, anything you really like to contribute to the chat, I'd be happy to answer some questions while we wait for our next reading. Mm-hmm. Yeah, AFC getting a lot of dropped frames. This is. Yeah, this is here right now. Any questions? Go ahead and drop them in the chat. And I'll be happy to answer them. Let's just wait for a little bit here. Sound and video, great for me. Good. Awesome. I'm glad that it's coming in clearly for you guys. Just waiting for some questions to come in. Yeah, video is definitely glitchy. I'm having a lot of dropped frames over here. Barely getting the speed that I need for the video to come clearly. Is this moon a chaotic energy? I heard that from an astrologer, but I feel calm. What do you feel? That's the most important thing. Like, if you feel calm, then whatever astrologer is trying to instill a sense of doom or panic or chaos, like, I wouldn't trust those opinions. I would trust your body's opinion. You know, when we give our power, our autonomy, how we're supposed to feel away to someone who is literally just trying to influence you because they're influenced themselves, then, we got to practice a little bit of detachment, right? What's most important is how you feel. What's most important is how you're. I don't think this is a chaotic moon. I don't think any of the astrology is doing anything to us. If anything, it's bringing up some prompts, some questions for us to consider, but astrology is not happening to us, you know? Like astrology doesn't really even need you. It just happens. It's an energy to think of. It's an energy to consider. And I don't think it's a chaotic full moon. I think it's a moon where we're thinking about our work. We're thinking about how we're spending our time. We're thinking about how we spend our resources. And if that conversation happens to be chaotic for people, then perhaps it's more worth considering where the resistance is living for you. What is causing that resistance? Why would a conversation around Capricornian themes cause a level of panic and chaos? And for some of us, we might be working in ways that feel draining, that feel exhausting. And that's part of the work with this full moon is releasing some of those narratives and realigning ourselves with like the work we actually want to spend our time doing. So, or maybe realigning how we approach work. You could be working at a grocery store for all I know, and maybe part of this full moon is like, you know what? The gratitude of at least there's resources coming in. At least I have some place where I can show up. I have coworkers I love, and whatever this sort of feeling of, oh gosh, here's another thing. I gotta clock in, I gotta clock out. Whatever that feeling is, can we shift it? Can we shift our perspective so that we reach for a narrative of, you know what? This is probably not the work I want to do for the rest of my life, but it's the work that I have right now. And for that, I'm grateful. Like, in the meantime, then you search for the next thing you want to do. But can we start from a place of gratitude? Can we start from a place of resourcefulness? That is something worth considering for this lunation, right? There's a lot of doom and gloom uh, around work. And I will tell you the solution here is not, well, I just want to retire at 30 years old, right? Because I'm sure that would eventually get boring. We get bored and we want to feel useful. We want to feel like there's something worth doing in this life. And part of the quest that we are all on is exploring and giving ourselves the permission to explore what that can be. So, it's not a chaotic full moon for me. It doesn't feel chaotic. If anything, it feels like a realigning of values, a realigning full moon. So whatever doom and gloom astrologer is out there telling you like this is it, this is the one, this is the full moon that's gonna change your life. Nah, I mean, that doesn't speak to me. Um, what speaks to me is here are some things to consider. There is transformation available. You can walk through this door if you want to, but astrology is not making you do any of that. Only you can do that. Only you can walk through that door. Yeah, that's what we're looking at here. Do, do, do. To sign up for a live reading, you should have received an email with the booking link. Check your email, check your spam. If you booked a reading, you should have had a landing page as well with access to my calendar to book that reading. So there's that. There's that for you as well. Any suggestion for Capricorn Sun, Cap Moon child? So if you're a Capricorn, for raising a Capricorn Sun and a Cancer Moon child. So, like what we're looking at, Capricorn Sun is a source of sanity, right? So, if you're a Sun in Capricorn, your source of sanity is doing work, is to really build something in your life and to really be proud of whatever it is that you're building. Now, with Capricorn, with Cancer Moon, Moon sign is your source of happiness, a regulated, body, a regulated emotional nervous system is a happy one. So, what a Cancer moon needs to feel happy, to feel as though those needs are satiated, is nurture, is care, is softness. So, as you're raising this beautiful Capricorn sun, making sure that as a caregiver, you're also offering that heart, also offering an example of that softness. This person needs to be soft with the work that they're doing. Um, and like the work is going to happen, and the fuel that makes that work happen is softness, is the heart, is love, is also family. I would say for this Cancer moon, their family is, if not already, is going to continue growing into being something very important for them. So they might end up, who knows, building something for their family, for their intergenerational wealth of some sort. Capricorn really has a finesse for building wealth, and with a Cancer moon, maybe it's wealth for the family, wealth for the peoples, wealth so that mom could relax, or dad could relax, or grandma, or whoever. So as you're raising this child, really imbuing and creating an environment where they feel like they belong, where they feel like they're cared for, and that can be something really worth exploring for this beautiful baby. Good on you for bringing this life into the world. How fun. Let's see. The only thing I can hear my guides and God continue to say to me is keep walking. So onward we go. One step, one breath, baby. Yeah, absolutely. How to find an aligned career as a Taurus 10th house, Leo rising. So Taurus 10th house, we're looking at building a career that is simple, it's stable, it's rooted. It has values that, really spark you and fuel you. I would say with the Leo rising, we're looking at, who knows, maybe building a creative center of some sort. Leo is the artist of the zodiac. They've come into this world to express. They've come into this world to be seen in some way. And with Taurus up there in the 10th house, I can't help but see like you building a space for people to express themselves and to feel safe in expressing themselves as well. With Taurus, though, we're looking at the land, we're looking at with the earth. So maybe it's worth to like explore something where people are coming together and connecting with the simple truths of Earth as well. Leo rising peoples, this is going to be an interesting year. Could be a very interesting year for you, especially with Jupiter going into Leo tomorrow. Jupiter being that planet of luck, of abundance, how we open doors, how we gravitate opportunities to us. Leo, in Leo, we're looking at being seen, being witnessed, being um, validated, but also validated through our joy, validated by truly wearing our heart on our sleeves. What are we shining? What are we being called to illuminate in this current chapter? Now, Jupiter for Leo rising people, this Jupiter transit will be hitting your first house. So it's all about you. It's all about the self. Talk about extreme self makeover. So, what are you being called to express in this current chapter? through the lens of joy, through the lens of play, through the lens of curiosity. This Jupiter and Leo transit, we're talking about play. So, what do we want to play with, right? And even with Taurus up there in the 10th house, like Leo rising ultimately informs the entirety of that chart, right? So, how can we play our way toward building something, and something that is simple? Like everybody asks me about Taurus, and like, okay, well, tell me the deep truth about Taurus. But Taurus is not complex by nature and by design, and we need that. We need something that's like, great, when I'm tired, I sleep. When I'm hungry, I eat. When I feel restless, I go for a walk. When I feel, like I need energy, I put my feet in the grass. And that's the message of Taurus. It's not complex. It's very, very simple, and it needs to be simple. How can we put our best peace foot forward? A lot of the struggle and the turmoil that the ego might create, these stories of wounding, which is very scorpionic. Scorpio is Taurus's perfect opposite, and Taurus will reach for a story of wounding, a story of pain, a story of betrayal as the limiting belief that prevents us from just simply being here. The boogeyman is not out to get you anymore. In this right now moment, the wind is blowing. It's creating a feeling of coolness on my skin and my body. The sun is shining. My partner's in front of me. The saguaros are all around me. And in this moment, there is no danger. There is no danger. And if there were danger, I trust that I will react and respond in a way that restabilizes a sense of peace. Can you trust yourself in that? But in the meantime, cool. Can we simply reach for joy? Can we simply reach for whatever it is you're being called to build with that 10th house, right? It's beauty through the senses, absolutely. It's sitting down and actually having a meal, mindfully having a meal. Not like rushing to have a meal and then to like go to the next task and the next task and the next task. No, it's simply having a meal and allowing all five of your senses to experience that, right? It's the moment of gratitude before you even have that meal of like, wow, thank you for the sustenance you're about to provide, even if you're about to have a slice of pizza, right? Thank you for the substance. Thank you for the people who cook this meal if you're out at a restaurant. Thank you for the nutrients. Thank you to this body who's about to ingest this. That's Taurus. That's what Taurus is all about. There's nothing complex about it. So when you think about the 10th house legacy you're building, build it in that manner, right? Maybe you end up building some earthy space somewhere where you garden, and then maybe you start inviting other people to slow down and appreciate all the many ways in which this earth is abundant, right? And that's the simple truth of Taurus, the simple truth of it all. Absolutely. Thank you for your question, though. Really good question. Let's see here. Just making sure we didn't get. Oh, beautiful. We have another reading. So, Marlene, wherever you are in the world, let me just pull up your chart here. Thank you, Marlene, for booking a reading. Thank you for your trust. Let's put in your information here. See what we got going on. All right. All right, Marlene. Let's see what we got going on here. Let me just check your notes. Okay. All right. So, interestingly enough, Marlene, you put in your notes like relationship, like wanting this reading to be a focus on relationship, which, interestingly enough, you have a lot happening in this seventh house, which tells me a little something about perhaps relational dynamics worth expanding from. First and foremost, understanding that the seventh house is, sure, it's about relationships. It's known as the house of marriage. It's the house of mirrors, though. It's the house of these relationships, these connections that mirror something about you, about who you are. And with the south node here in Aries, I'm interpreting a couple of things here. I'm interpreting perhaps uh, maybe relationship dynamics where we prioritize our career over the tender love and care that relationships actually need. Uh, with an Aries South Node here, we're looking at distortion around relationships as well as them being out to get us in some way. So although there's this desire for relationship and connection, we don't fully trust relationships. We don't fully probably let them show up because we're trying to control a narrative here in regards to relational dynamics that might be creating, yeah, that distortion when it comes to relationships. With South Node and Aries, we're talking about past lifetimes where we probably were the man, you know? And I don't mean man in like a very binary way, but well, like the masculine force in relationship. We were the one who was leading. We were the one taking charge. We were the one just like constantly making sure that the home was together, the house was together. And if we weren't the one in charge, then everything would fall apart, right? So this South Node in Aries paints that picture. It paints that image of, can I trust this relationship? Can I trust this partner or friendship, business partner to show up and to hold up their end of the bargain, right? And Aries here, like we're looking at where the relationship dynamics feel like a battlefield of some sort, right? We're looking at and equal parts like still wanting and desiring that connection. So how do we create these connections? How do we align ourselves with connections that I would say not to make this destiny, right? But like meant to have. Like relationships were meant to have. Well, first and foremost is looking at where your north node is. And directly across from it, we have a north node in Libra, which is about, can you really trust yourself when it comes to, like, can we also nourish and nurture a relationship with self? So your north node in Libra, coincidentally, is in the first house of self. It's about you. And classically, when we talk about seventh house, we're typically talking about Libra. We hold like the scales of justice, me and you, and what happens when we come together. So when I talk about seventh house, I talk about Libra typically. When I talk about first house, I'm talking about Aries. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about, I'm in this world. It's about me, right? Oh, there's another person here. Well, does this other person create blockage or does it create opening? What does that really look like? And with North Node and Libra in this first house, we're looking at moving from an arena where maybe our hyperfixation on relationships, making that relationship super perfect, making that trying to control relationship is getting in the way of this unmovable, unshakable peace that can only be found within yourself. Okay? So this north node in the first house, we're looking at Libra And Libra is about balance. Libra is about fairness. Libra is about justice. Libra is about the middle way. It's about you plus me, and somewhere in the center of you and me is our divinity. All right? In the gray area, in non duality. And it's interesting because Libra is, it is duality, but it's also that middle path. It's being in the center of duality where non duality is possible. I like to think of it as finding ourselves in the eye of the storm. Okay? Because South Node in Aries is creating distortion. It's creating distortion around relationship. It's creating distortion. It's creating all of our energy and resources are going into that and taking care of other people, which is beautiful, mind you. It's beautiful quality to have. But when we are taking care of others because we're trying to control how they perceive us, then we got to really look at what's causing that. What part of you feels as though is not enough? This is that North Node Libra work. How can we find our enoughness, boom, right in our center? Because I think ultimately you really know what happens when you give yourself to another person. And that's Libra. It is it is the process of giving yourself over to someone, right? And it's a beautiful thing. That's why we love relationships. I have right here tattooed on my arm the origin of love from Hedwig and the Angry Inch. And this story of, once upon a time we were children of the sun, children of the earth, children of the moon, two women stuck together as one, two men stuck together as one, women, female and male stuck together, and Zeus, got bored and like sent a whole bunch of lightning bolts and cut people down the middle. That's why we have these belly buttons. That's why we do the sex, because like we're trying to come back together as one, right? And I think that's a very Libra archetypal story. And how, yeah, in coming together as one means a sacrifice of self. And it's a beautiful quality to give that self to another person. The compromise, it's a beautiful quality to give over. My partner and I, we were talking about this dynamic, this tension, and how every single chart room reading I have, right? We have at least one or two people with South Node Aries, North Node Libra, or vice versa. So we're having this conversation about this polarity, right? And this theme that Libra oftentimes feels about losing yourself. Like I lost myself in relationship. I lost myself in connection. I lost myself. And how we reach for that story, and in that there might be a disdain or a resentment for the other person as if they took something from us. Whereas, no, we gave something of ourselves to make that relationship possible, to make that relationship happen, right? So what we're moving toward here is probably away from just you, it being about just you in a relationship, to making it more about you both, to make those relationships possible, right? So that is what we're looking at here, because ultimately you know what it is to give yourself to someone. It's a beautiful thing. And part of you fears yourself in giving yourself to someone. Part of you fears that. What does this mean? If I give myself to this other person, am I going to lose myself again? I can't lose myself again. What about me? It's like you can never lose yourself. You're always found. You're always there. You might change, but the essence of who you are still remains. It's always there. You never lost yourself. It's an alchemical principle, It really is an alchemical principle. To make something happen means you have to give something. Nothing is just free. To make a relationship happen, you have to give of yourself. doesn't just happen. So that's what we're looking at here with your relationship dynamics. We're looking at this tension of self and other. And instead of trying to control how others perceive you, let them perceive you as you are. Let them also show up as they are, instead of trying to control them as well. Let them be who they are, as you are as you are. Because there's this Pluto and Libra placement in this first house. Like, yeah, we've come into this world to transform ourselves and transform ourselves in relationship with other people. There's only so much you can do on your own. You need others. So stop trying to control others and their narrative of you, and let them have their own narrative of you. And what does that tell you of you? Okay? Okay? Peace, diplomacy, diplomacy with yourself, peace with yourself, peace that you are never lost, peace that the world is not out to get you, relationships are not out to get you. Can you trust that muscle inside of you that goes, something shifted here relationally? And then instead of trying to pick a fight over what shifted relationally, asking the question of the other of like, hey, something shifted. Can you give me more information? Can we have a conversation about this? You need more information. Instead of jumping to betrayal, instead of jumping to like this feeling of, what's the word I'm reaching for? Instead of reaching for suspicion, can we lean more toward mediation? That's the T. That's the T. I think there's a lot of paranoia we get to soothe in this lifetime. Instead of jumping to conclusions, let's jump to questions. Let's ask more questions than jump to conclusions. Okay? Okay. All right, dear. Good, Anya. Good reading. Appreciate you so much. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for your trust. We got, let's see, another reading here. Yay, two more. We're booked up for today, friends. So if you want to book a reading for Friday, I'll be back on Friday. So if you want to book a reading for Friday, go ahead. Link is in the description on YouTube. Link is also in my bio on Instagram. You can also comment chart on Instagram, and I'll send you the link as well. So this next reading is for, forgive me if I pronounce it wrong. Is it Maryi? 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 I don't know. I might be pronouncing it wrong. You can correct me. I accept corrections. Totally accept corrections. Let's see what we have here. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Mary. Okay, it's Mary. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate you, love. Let's see what we have here. And is it 3:48 a.m., Mary? Or is it 3:38 p.m.? Just let me know. I'm talking about your birth time, of course. I love that. Thank you for that, Mary. I appreciate it. Thank you for that confirmation, Mary. 3:48 p.m. All right, dear. Let me just look at your notes real quick. Yeah. Okay. All right. Uh, oh, that's beautiful. Oh, Mary, your notes tickled me in the most beautiful ways. All right, cool. So, whoa, holy Pisces, holy Pisces, it is you. So, I want to offer here something worth considering. For anybody who has this much Pisces in their chart, y'all really need faith-based practices to work with that helps you not take on all the world's problems as being yours to solve. All right? Because that's very Pisces. It's a lot of water and a lot of what we end up feeling heaviness, just depression, the swampiness of it all is probably borrowed and not even our own. So, with anybody who I'm sitting with who has this much Pisces in their chart, I'm like, great, we need some faith based practices. We need a framework, whether that's Christianity or astrology or Buddhism or Taoism, Gnosticism. Like the list goes on and on and on and on and on. So, what is your faith-based practice? And what we're reaching for is something akin, I keep talking about it, Christ consciousness, right? It's something akin to Christ consciousness. And, it's separating the him being our Lord and Savior, that whole narrative, separating that and really connecting to his core philosophies about compassion, love, being of service, loving thy neighbor, forgiveness, all these virtues that if we were to really live life in that space, then I think there's a lot of ways in which that Pisces energy can move. And the reason why I mention Christ consciousness is because Christianity, modern day Christianity, was built during an age of Pisces. It's why Jesus, the Jesus fish, right? What is Pisces? A fish. And this sort of feeling of like swimming down into the ocean, deeper through these layers of what reality is. It's that slow dissolve of the ego. So when we look at, okay, I'm feeling all of this. Am I gonna make it? Am I gonna this? And how do I move with this water and this energy and da 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 da? Well, I would say probably a more helpful question is, how do I serve? How can I best serve? How can I best serve? How can I best contribute? How can I best practically, most practically, boom, do the everyday work of offering my love, my gratitude, and my service? Because look at this packed up Pisces energy up here. Mind you, Pisces energy in the eighth house of shadows, the eighth house of secrets, the eighth house of wounds, the eighth house of, and how the body responds when those shadows aren't checked, where those demons aren't kept on their leash, right? When we let these illusory, shadowy things completely out there without turning toward them, the body responds. The body responds, right? So the remedy here, the medicine is not turning our way toward the shadow, running away from shadow. It's turning toward. and saying, I love you. I see you. I witness you. I see you're scared. I see you're tired. I see you're exhausted. But I love you and I witness you. So whenever we try to escape from it, that's the shadow of Pisces here, is escapism, whether that's through substances, through television, through technology, whatever it is. That's what we know, like, we're not doing our Pisces work. Our Pisces work is turning toward it all, like shooting those stones at Goliath as this beast that, great, I'm going to train this beast. I'm going to train this dragon. You would also really benefit from learning about the occult, if like working with spirit, whether that's spiritualism, being a death doula of some sort, working with folks who might be transitioning and being of service in that way, maybe transitioning into non-physical form, and you're there as a caregiver. Your Piscesness needs something to serve. I saw in your notes that you got disability for a couple years, which is great. I love that, as far as it being maybe some time for you to reorient yourself into, cool, what skills do I want to build in this next chapter? Doesn't matter how old you are. You're not too late on this. How can we point all this Pisces energy from up here in this 8th house down to the 2nd house? Look at what's directly opposite. Look at all this Virgo energy opposite all this Pisces energy. We're seeing this nodal conversation right now with the North and the South node being in North node being in Pisces, South node being in Virgo. Virgo being the skill builder, Pisces being the dream maker. So how can we best be a servant of God, source, creator, universe, higher self, future self, whatever that is? Who can we start working with? Where is also your community? Another thing we got to really start considering. Because over here, North Node, Gemini, conversationalist, meaning maker in conversation, in connection, connections that inspire us, connections that go, woo, wow, I never thought of that. I never thought of this. I never thought of that. We got a lot of South Node Sagittarian beliefs that are getting in the way of us connecting with other people. Can we be more intentional, more active in inserting ourselves into conversational spaces where we get to connect with other people as well? Because Pisces over here, isolation. We isolate ourselves. Can I trust you with my shadows? Can I trust you with my demons? Can I trust you with these fears? Or will I be judged for it? It's like, well, you never really know until you finally put yourself out there. You put yourself in spaces with people who also want to connect and make meaning and have conversations. So look at all this squaring energy. We got 8th house, we got 11th house, we have 2nd house, we have 5th house, and all of these aspects are really telling us a story here. In order to get them really working together, we need our church. We need our church. We need a temple. We need a place where we can go, connect, conversate. Right? We need something to be of service to. Maybe it's in relationship to that temple, a church of some sort, where you can go every single week. And it doesn't have to be a Christian church or a Catholic church or whatever. It can just be a community, a container of people where we're getting together. You need connection. You need other people who are also feeling what you're feeling and working with what you're feeling in beautiful service-oriented ways. And then we got this 5th house, South Node in Sagittarius, which is like, it's spiritual psychosis, babe. Anybody who has South Node in Sagittarius, spiritual psychosis. It's dogma. And we're moving away from dogma toward optimism through questioning, through conversation, through connection, through a healthy dose of cynicism as well. So how do you move this energy? How do you work with all that water energy? Giving it something practical to be in service to. Having a community to connect that service with. to create meaning with. And you'll find that the rest of your chart opens up in some beautiful ways. Virgo really wants you to get organized right now. Okay? So I understand there's feeling, I understand there's weight, I understand there's grief, I understand there's pain, but we got to move with that pain. We got to work with that pain to get that Pisces moving and flowing, to get the dream to dream again. Because right now, it's painting a nightmare, and that's not entirely true. The nightmare isn't inherently true. Okay, dear? All right, Mary. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful reading. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your time and your contribution. I appreciate you so much for trusting me in this exploration. We got one more reading for today. One more reading for today. How great. And this reading, last but certainly not least, is for, let's see here. It's for Leo. Leo, Leo, Leo. All right, friend. Let me just get your chart here. All right. Let's see. Yay, it's you. It's you. It's you. It's you. I'm gonna love you. All right. Let's see. Hey, Hotlanta. All right. Beautiful. All right, friend. So let's see. What do we got going on here? Read your notes real quick. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. All right, friend. So we just quit our jobs. Beautiful. We live, we laugh, we love. A couple of things that I'm looking at here that's worth considering. Like, I get a lot of questions about purpose, right? Well, what's my purpose? What should I focus on? Whenever I get asked about purpose, I'm looking at usually one thing. I'm always looking at the midheaven, which is right up here. The midheaven is the crown of your chart. It's what you're remembered for. It's what you're remembered by. Give me one quick second here, because I think this died on me. Please. Boom. There we go. Okay, beautiful. So the crown of your chart is Pisces. Now the crown of your chart, it tells you like the color. It tells you like the shape of whatever it is, this quote unquote legacy we end up building. And with Pisces up here, we're looking through the lens of spirituality. We're looking through the lens of dream making and dream building. We're looking at doing something really meaningful and heart centered, putting that out into this world. Now, the house before it is the ninth house. That's where we go to school. That's where we get the degree. Like, we don't have to go to the university in order to get a degree. You know, life can give you that degree as well. So, what I'm looking at is both this 10th house and I'm looking at this ninth house to help you here, right? So, part of the thing you end up contributing and the legacy you end up building is Aquarius informed. It's very Aquarius informed. So when you think of going back to school, whether that's university, whether that's life, what experiences through the Aquarian lens can we begin exploring here? Okay. I would say maybe now would be a good chance or a good opportunity to do some volunteer work in another country, to do some woofing or some couch surfing, whatever that is. How can we change up the environment, start working with the people? Okay, when you think of being a part of a movement, when you think of being a part of something that pushes the collective conversation forward, Where does that look? Like, what does that look like? Who are you with? Who are your revolutionaries? Who are your counterculture builders? Who are these people? And can we really start leaning in to those sort of environments, right? I look at Saturn in Aquarius here in the ninth house of philosophy, in the ninth house of meaning making, right? And I see Aquarius here of like when we, Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn is at home here in Aquarius. Now, Saturn brings a level of seriousness to Aquarius. I think Saturn is where Aquarius gets its um Aquarius gets its like cold and detached energy from. In Uranus, it's buzzy, it's moving, it's evolutionary. But in with Saturn, it's like great, we got to be back here to observe something that we need more information on. And I think ultimately here, Saturn really wants to be, and Aquarius wants to be a part of innovation, wants to be a part of pushing humanity forward. So we got to equal parts here with Pisces at the crown of your chart, who is very emotional and soft and receptive and compassionate, right? And sometimes that can get really swampy. Practicing that healthy dose of detachment to be able to meet the group think, the collective space, exactly where they are. So I would really say in this next chapter, like, who do you want to start working with? Like, what are those communities? What are those spaces you really want to start working with? And can we really start orienting ourselves in that direction? Maybe it is that you go back to school. Maybe it is that you traveled somewhere. But ultimately, the thing you end up creating, the legacy you end up building, is very Piscean. So it's very empathetic. It's very heart-centered. When you think of being a humanitarian, like, how do you humanitarian? Who are you helping? What do those people really look like? When you really think of putting yourself out there, like, what does it feel like? What does it look like? Who are you walking with? And bringing that into the dream state so we can really start building it, right? Another thing I want to offer is Jupiter in Leo. Jupiter will be entering Leo tomorrow for 12 months. We'll have Jupiter in Leo really expanding this conversation, right? I think Jupiter in Leo is going to bring joy to the surface. It's going to remind you that, hey, when we have fun, when we enjoy ourselves, when we feel excited about the things that we're creating, Jupiter in Leo is here to be like, great, doors open. Doors really open when we put love and joy and play at the forefront. Like, you're a Leo sun, baby. And a Leo sun in the third house. So we have something very special here to communicate. I think this is what I love about your Pisces placement, because we really always hear about Pisces as being like feeling too much, right? And feeling too much to the point of depression and not being able to move and not being able to do anything. But what we don't hear is that with Pisces, it's two fish, right? It's the fish that is feeling too much, and it's the fish that's feeling forward, right? And with this is the other side that I think through Leo that you get to express here. It's the it is the play. It is the fun. We don't know how to play. We don't know how to create. Uh, and part of that is because we have that Chiron wound, of course, in Leo as well. So, um, I think we knew how to do that early on in life, and somebody, an adult, probably was just like, "We got to be serious. We can't have playtime right now. We can't have fun right now." And how we absolve and heal that Chiron and Leo wound is being an active participant in making play possible every day. Mommy and daddy aren't here to take your toys away anymore. And you got to really start clocking the many ways in which you take the toys away from yourself, as it being like a no, we got to be responsible. We can't do that. We can't do this. It's like, no, can we turn play on? Because Jupiter and Leo, we're talking about 12 months of the philosophy of artistry and creativity. Like, Leo is the patron saint of creativity, right? Basically. So we got to start thinking here of, great, how can I be more playful right now? You know, Maybe you sign up for a theater company. Maybe there's a community theater production of some sort and you get involved with them. I think community theater is very Aquarian in the sense of everybody's coming together to put on a show, right? You got sound design, you got set design, you got a director. Everybody's volunteering to put on a show for folks, right? And there are no small parts, only small players in this sort of theater making scene. And I think in theater making, you get both. You get the Aquarius and you get the Leo, the look at me, and then you get the Aquarius of like, okay, cool, how can I help you? How can I help you? What are the costumes like? And it's like this buzzing little army of ants coming together to make a show happen. So I like what do we do in this current chapter? How do we make that legacy happen? Only you know how. I would say let's start connecting with heart, let's start connecting with play, and let's start daydreaming of the people we create with. Because your North Node is in Sagittarius. We're moving toward a more relational placement where we need people and people who believe in us, connections that believe in us. Surrounding yourself with those people as well who carry that sense of belief in you and the world we're building together. Moving away from the analysis paralysis of South Node and Gemini here, like, but what do I do and what do I do and what do I do? It's like, well, like, how can we use our relationships as that sounding board to help us point toward, like, the sort of creations we want to explore, right? Oh, my first degree was in performing arts. There you go. And maybe this next chapter is a resurgence of that degree. There's a reason why you went for it, and that Chiron and Leo placements at being also a sun in Chiron probably created a level of like, oh, well, I don't want it to be about me. I don't want to be that Leo, right? I don't want to be that Leo. It's like, look at me, applause, validate me. Um, but there's also something worth mentioning about like, no, baby, you deserve your applause. You deserve your flowers. But what are we being applauded for? Because yes, there's a time and place to really look at uh, the performing arts as being this very prima donna environment where it's only about the leads, right? But we don't really highlight the ensemble that made that leading role possible. So when you think of performing arts for a new world, for a new earth, for this next step, because performing arts is going to be one of those, it's already like there's a huge resurgence in theater and live performance because you can't AI live performance. You can't AI it. You need real people. So that's it. That's the vibe. That's what I would encourage you looking for. Um, I think finding your people, finding a space to be a part of is worth considering. Okay. Well, on that note, friends, I got 2% on my battery right now. I thought this little battery was going to keep it going. So we do have to finish up right on time. My computer's about to like explode right now. But I love y'all so much. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for being here. And I hope to see you for the full moon in Capricorn workshop. Check out the link down below in the description on YouTube. Check out the link in my bio to sign up for the collective. We'll be doing a workshop today at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern, and I hope to see you there. Right now, I'm doing a 14-day free trial to see if it's for you. So hope to see you there. And bye for now, friends. Love you, love you, love you. Bye, 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 bye. Hate to cut it short. Oh, but bye for now. Yay. Thank you guys. Bye. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yay. Ah, yay, yay, yay.
Seemed to work.
Yeah. Yeesh.
Very, very good.